your company provides comprehensive low-altitude weather solutions to improve safety and efficiency in the scaling drone and air taxi industry. So just explain to us a little bit more about exactly what you do in your current company and role.
Well, we're trying to solve a really big problem that's existed for since we started flying, and we haven't really solved it yet. And that's, you know, how do we get better understanding of the low altitude environment of what's really happening? So if you think about it today, the only place we really measure weather is at airports. And, we do have aircraft flying and collecting data, but they're flying mostly above the weather or above the low altitude. And those that are flying the low altitude don't have the automated means to report weather, right? So the only places we're really getting good wind data, good ceiling, cloud height data, good visibility data is at the airports in the low altitude. We only do 2 balloon launches a day to get weather above ground level. Everything else between airports, no measurements. Now we have models that are doing the best they can to take this very limited data set and try to apply physics and all kinds of things to say, this is what we think it's looking like here. But the problem is when you get to things like ceiling and visibility, they're very localized. If they're between an airport, you may never know they're there. You won't know they're there. And so when people talk about doing machine learning and improving forecasts, yes, you could do machine learning, but you have to have a good historical data set to do that. And you only could do good weather machine learning where you have a good historical data set. And if anyone's telling you that we're using machine learning to improve cloud forecasts and ceilings between airports, really, they don't have a historical data set to do that. They're using an analysis of what we thought was happening as their initial data set. So errors are already being imposed. So True Weather said this is not acceptable when you have to fly VFR, right? Or in the case of winds, the same problem. We don't measure winds above ground level. So what's really happening? We see days where the winds could be off 30% from the model. And I think everyone can relate to this. It doesn't happen every day. And our modeling is amazing if you consider how little we have that we're using. But I'm not satisfied because we have the science and the technology to get this infrastructure out to close that gap and to collect this data that's going to make weather more certain. And you won't have to be surprised. And the uncertainty is really the problem, because if you don't know and you're a drone operator flying 70 miles without a pilot on board, or the remote operator